Hello, everybody. Welcome to our yoga class. Today it's going to be about 40 minutes and we'll be going through a vinyasa series. A little bit of twisting, a little bit of opening up at the hips. Always just listening to the body. Any move that I'm doing, I will be offering a couple of modifications. However, if those don't suit your body's needs, please feel free to take a position that feels good. Sometimes that's child's pose. Sometimes it's another move altogether, knowing that I will complete a balanced stretch, front, back, side, shoulders, hips. But if ever you feel like you need to press pause and breathe a little bit deeper into another pose, or vice versa, maybe move on and get out of a pose a little bit earlier, know that that is absolutely your right. And please grant yourself permission to do that today. Okay, with that being said, please find yourself on the floor, laying down if you're able to, otherwise seated is fine. And we'll begin with a little bit of relaxation, mindful breathing to begin our practice. So as I said, finding a position that's comfortable for you. For most of us, we tend to start our supine mat warm-up in Shavasana. Legs are extended, slightly opened at the hip, allowing the feet to turn out. Arms loosely relaxed down by our sides. Knuckles on the floor and palms raised towards the ceiling, allowing those fingers to soften, maybe even curling into the palm of our hand. While we're laying here, we're noticing if we feel maybe a little bit twisted, if we feel like our shoulders aren't quite level, not necessarily needing to fix any of this right now. Instead, this as a learning opportunity, checking in with our body, becoming more familiar, more acquainted with how our body feels today, in this moment, on our mat. And as we do that, perhaps we are also becoming more aware of our breathing. Whatever is natural, whatever feels right today. Maybe it's slow. Maybe you're so focused on counting, inhaling, exhaling. Or perhaps you're allowing this to come freely and naturally. And rather than dictating the breath in and out, you're simply an observer, noticing how the inhale feels as it comes through the nose, the chest, ribs, stomach area, and observing how that stomach seems to deflate, the ribs seem to come down, the chest lowers as we release all of the air. However you've chosen to focus on your breathing, be completely involved. Practicing mindfulness means that we are present without judgment, knowing and understanding that our mind is going to wander frequently, and that that's okay. Every time you notice your mind wander, bring it back. And the easiest tool for me in my tool belt is my breath. Whenever I start to focus on what I'm doing later or that task that's yet to be completed, I remember to focus on my inhale and focus on my exhale. On that next inhale, let's reach our arms long up over our head, taking a nice big stretch. Opening up through the shoulders, the chest, maybe even the back. I'll encourage you to explore your side body, stretching the hands over to one side, lengthening a little bit longer. And repeating that again to the other side, lengthening through. And we'll come through the middle. Release those arms and gather the knees into the chest, giving ourselves a wonderful big hug. Whether you're choosing to hold your knees on your shins or underneath the thighs, that's up to you. And we'll start to add a rock right to left, kneading out any knots in the lower back. Maybe feeling a little bit of pinching through the front of the hips. That's okay. Again, we're not focused on fixing anything just yet. Rather, we're noticing, without judgment, how our body feels. Not ridiculing ourselves for having a sore back or for having tight hips. Noticing instead, maybe we sat a while this weekend. We're feeling this way. Let's focus on that now in class. We hold the knees still and we roll through the feet, releasing any cricks or cracks. Now let's keep a hold of our right knee and lower the left leg all the way down. Drawing that right knee out towards our right shoulder. Noticing any stretch through the hips. And we'll cross that knee over towards the left shoulder. Nice little stretch in and around that right hip. Drawing the leg through the middle and down to the ground. We'll draw the left knee up into the chest now, opening that knee out towards our left shoulder, firmly pressing the right leg down into the mat. We can cross the knee over towards that right shoulder, noticing as we still draw the knee in towards the belly, how this is feeling. Coming through the middle and release. We'll take our arms out to the side, lift the feet up onto the floor, and we can stay here, or I'm going to demonstrate this from knees and tabletop, 90 degrees, engaging through the core muscles, starting windshield wipers. We drop the knees gently over to the right, maintaining shoulders down on the ground, and draw them up. Drop them over to the left, and then lift them up. Noticing as we do this, that we want to keep our shoulders pressing on the floor the whole time. So we only allow the knees to fall to the side as much as we can control them. That being said, they don't need to come all the way to the floor. Trying to keep your abdominal muscles engaged. What this is doing is it's preparing our core, talking to our obliques, talking to the abs, talking to the back, talking to the hips. We're hitting all four components here. And we're getting a little bit of work, a little bit of rotation through the torso. We'll do one more, making sure you finish that right, left equally. And then we can release the feet to the floor, keeping the legs bent, arms come down by our sides. Let's come into our glute bridges. Make sure your heels are close enough to your body. Feet and knees are placed about hips width distance apart, that we'll be able to activate those glutes. Shoulders roll down into the mat. We inhale and lift the hips up. Start by squeezing the glutes and exhale, slowly lower. Want to activate those extensors. Inhale, stretch the flexors, activate that posterior chain, and slow lower. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, lower down. And one more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Very good. Let's take our time as we roll over on sides. We're going to pick ourselves up and over onto hands and knees, where we'll press back into our first child's pose. Your knees can be on the ground, placed as wide as your mat, or some of us prefer them to be quite narrow. Same with your feet. Let's see if we can get them nice and flat here as we press down through the hips, extend our arms, and relax the head. Knowing that this is our first of possibly many child's pose for today, I want us to be aware of how this is feeling right now. And now while we're here, we'll walk our hands over towards the right edge of our mat, placing that left hand on top and sitting into the left hip a little bit more favorably. Noticing any sensation that may come along with this stretch, probably down the left side. We'll walk through the middle over to that left edge, right hand on top as we pull down the right side. A lovely lateral extension while in child's pose. Coming through the middle. Take our time as we come all the way up into table. So in tabletop, we've got our hands placed directly beneath our shoulders, and let's ensure that our hands are in fact happy. Spread the fingers apart, have a little bit of turn in, a little bit of rotation. Most people, that's more comfortable on the hands if you draw your index fingers so that they're pointing a little bit more towards each other, like a triangle if you were to draw them together. Knees are right underneath hips. We're bringing those bellies in, keeping our necks long, finding our spinal balance. We extend our right arm forward, thumb to the ceiling, and press our left leg back and lower down. Inhale, left arm and right leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, right. Exhale, down. Inhale, left. Exhale. Inhale, right. Exhale, one more. Inhale, left. Exhale. Coming into table and holding it here, preparing for the next version here. We're going to take our right leg, keeping the knee bent. We'll lift it up to the ceiling. And then I want you to draw the knee into the chest. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Inhale, lift, and see if you can arch your back while you're doing this. Crunch that knee in. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, a version of a donkey kick or a songbird here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, one more. Inhale, lift. And release down. Inhale, lift the left knee. Find your balance. Exhale, draw the knee under as much as you're able to. Inhale, lift. Exhale, and you can always tap the knee down if you need to. Inhale, lift. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, up. Exhale. Activating lots of core muscles here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, one more time. Inhale, up. And release. Let's come back into child's pose again to relieve those wrists. Sitting back through the heels. Extend those arms and rest the head. And this time while we're here, we'll prepare for a thread the needle stretch. Taking ourselves up into tabletop position, we'll space those knees more hips width distance apart. Now taking our right arm, extend it all the way high with a big inhale. Exhale, thread underneath that left arm, laying in and down towards that right shoulder. Now, a lot of people like to take that top hand and reach it forward. You can always keep it next to your head if preferred, or even reach it up towards the ceiling. Option with the hand to the ceiling is to find the hand coming into the back pocket instead. So noticing what feels best today. Maybe it's an option that you have experienced before. Maybe it's new. Now slowly taking ourselves through that reverse progression of what we did before to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in any harm. And then we'll finish by reaching that right arm all the way high to the sky and lowering it down. Getting ready to repeat that now on the other side. We inhale, left arm up. And exhale, thread all the way underneath. The option there to keep the right hand beside the head, extended forward, or perhaps up to the ceiling, or even into the pocket. Now noticing whenever we have options for arms or progressions through poses, we have no expectations. We can try, we can experiment, and we do the pose that feels good or that fits with our intention for today's class. Let's take a big inhale, reach the arm all the way through the reverse progression. And then inhale, lift the left arm high to the sky. And exhale, release. From here, we maintain tabletop, coming through those cats and cows. Inhale, opening the chest, look forward. And exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the back. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. And one more. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Coming back into child's pose when you're able. Adjusting the knees as we see fit. So again, the options are to have them nice and wide if that feels better. You could always have a pad or something underneath your knees if that was a better option for you. I'll ask you to hold this for 2 more breaths. And then you can stay there or join me in a modified flow series. We inhale forward into kneeling plank. Exhale, hover above the mat in baby crocodile. Inhale, pressing straight up. And exhale, push back into child's pose. We'll repeat this 3 more times. Inhale, forward, kneeling plank. Exhale, lower, hovering above the mat. Inhale, press straight up in a push-up. Exhale, push back into child's. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lower, elbow string ribs. Inhale, press straight up, maintaining flat backs. Exhale, push into child's pose. 1 more. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press up. And exhale, push back. From here, we're going to reach ourselves into down dog. Curl those toes underneath of you. Press those hips up nice and high. And we can hold it or we can move through it. Because this is our first down dog, I usually encourage everyone to actively work through pedaling the feet, right to left. Notice how that feels through the toes, the arches, the heels, the calves, up the backs of the legs. And then once you've done that, maybe you want to try kind of rocking right to left, noticing any pressure or sensation along the outsides of those hips. And then we'll hold the body still, find a little bit of quiet, pressing away from spread fingers, pulling those shoulders back behind us, lifting up through the belly. And we'll find ourselves getting ready for our first lunge. We look up between our hands, kicking the right foot, helping the foot get there, however many extra fidgets or steps you need. Now you can have your knee down on the floor in runner's lunge, or you can maintain that back leg up nice and straight in crescent lunge, choosing to leave your hands on the floor or drawing them up into our standing upright position, either on thighs or all the way up towards the ceiling. An alternative option that we can always take in any position is heart center. Now, if you are kneeling, make sure that you're happy on that back knee. I've mentioned before, you may have a towel or a pad that you're kneeling on. If you're in crescent lunge, I'm going to show you what I want from you, where we can rock ourselves forward. See how I'm now engaging my back thigh muscle. I'm on the back toe, knee above ankle, wiggle those front toes, staying so tall. Just a couple more breaths in our lunge. And slowly release the hands. Maintain the leg position. We're coming into a twisted lunge. Keep your left hand right beside your foot. You can do a fist or a hand, or if you had a yoga block, you could press your hand off of that to add a little bit of space. And then if you're able to, I want you to reach that right arm all the way up to the ceiling, or again, find that hand in your back pocket towards your opposite hip. Let's focus on opening the collar, maintaining that 90-degree knee bend, really feeling like we're lifting, we're lengthening, we're finding more space for the joints. One more inhale. Now, as we exhale, let's bring the hand down to the inside of the leg, and I want you to heel toe that foot out. Finding ourselves preparing for lizard. Line your right arm up with your right shin, your lower leg. You can turn the foot out a little bit or keep it parallel. You can keep that back left leg straight or bent. I like to play with both and see how my hips are responding, because this stretch is designed for the hips. And as we hold lizard, you may notice that this right knee wants to fall out. That's okay, you can fall out, you can bring it in, you can wiggle. However, if you're holding it, I will encourage us to try to maintain stacked joints, knee on top of ankle. But if you feel like moving it, that's okay. You can kind of wiggle through it. Now, for anyone who's thinking they need just a little bit more, that's when you have the option to come down onto your elbows. Remember, there is no expectation. There is no pose better than the other, so long as you're listening to your body, understanding too that you can come out of it whenever you need to. Now, that being said, let's slowly start to reverse here, sweeping ourselves back all the way into child's pose. Whether the legs are close or spread apart, let's draw the foreheads down and take a couple of deep breaths. Slowly, we'll come up into down dog again, unless you're a loving child, and then stay there. Now from here, I'll invite you to hold your stretch or join me in a flow series. We'll in forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, that's slow, controlled lower. Inhale, scoop up into cobra. Exhale, press back into down dog, or child's pose if you prefer. Once more through our flow. Inhale, forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, lift. Exhale, push back, down dog or child. Now, from our stretch, preparing for the lunge series on the other leg, we look up between our hands, step the left foot all the way forward, establishing knee stacked on top of ankle. Back leg is held straight in crescent lunge or dropped low for runner's lunge. When ready, or if we're ready, we lift the hands from the floor, starting on the thigh, find our posture, square the hips and shoulders to face the front. Maybe the arms come all the way up to the ceiling, or perhaps down through heart center. Level collar, level hips, and if you are in crescent lunge right now, I want you to pay attention to that forward shift. Onto those toes. Front toes are a little bit wiggly. Weights distributed. We're feeling strong through our inner thigh, through our quadricep muscles. Tall and proud through our crown of head. If you're noticing your balance is a little bit off today, that's okay. You can have either a wall next to you that maybe you just every now and then hold, or you could have a chair nearby. Let's slowly bring our hands down. Preparing for the twisted lunge. We can leave the back leg straight or bring it down for a bent position. Either way, let's have that right hand beside the foot, either flat on a fist, or if you've got that yoga block. When you're ready, we lift that left arm nice and high, or bring it down into back pocket. Opening through the collar, lifting out of this bottom shoulder, continuing to bend forward into that left knee, maintaining stacked joint of knee above ankle, allowing that left hip to feel some stretch. One more inhale. Exhale, release the hand. We're going to draw the hands to the inside of that front leg, heel toe that left leg out, lining left arm with our left shin, 90 degrees if we can with that knee. Back leg can remain straight or come bent. Maybe you need to fan that foot out or keep it narrow. Play with it. See what your body needs today. Maybe you need to rock it and twist it and bend into it. Or perhaps you're looking for stillness, calmness, in which case you want to hold it. Take a few big breaths here. Slowly starting to unwind or get out of that, and we'll sweep our legs back behind us, gently helping ourselves into child's position. From here, we can choose to stay in child's pose or come up into downward facing dog. And we can choose to hold our stretch or come together in our flow. Taking your vinyasa, inhale forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga, elbows brushing ribs. Inhale, lifting ourselves up through cobra. Exhale, pressing back, down dog or child. Once more, inhale forward into plank. You can always have your knees lifted or down on the floor as we exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra stretch lift. Exhale, pressing back, down dog or child's pose. From here, we're going to walk our hands and feet together, coming halfway up to monkey position. Pulling those bellies in nice and tight, shoulders squeezing together in the back like you're trying to flatten out your surface here, like a tabletop. Long necks, soft knees. Now from monkey, I want us to transition into airplane. If you're able to, take your hands to your hips and then squeeze those shoulders as we straighten the arms out, palms facing down to the floor. Rings are up to the ceiling. Squeeze those shoulders even more if you're able to. Soften the knees, holding your airplane. And if ever you prefer to bring your hands back to your thighs or shins, that's fine. Noticing our legs working. Holding this 2-foot balance. One more big inhale. Release the hands down to table. Softening your knees. Inhale, reverse swan dive, lift tall. And now exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Allow your body to completely fold forward, regardless of how low your hands are. If you have that yoga block, you can press them on top of that yoga block. You can hold them in ragdoll, holding either elbow, or allow them to simply rest down. Whatever is working for you today, go ahead and shake that head no. Loosen up your neck muscles, freeing the head from the shoulders. Nod the head yes. And slowly, we'll bring our hands down, softening the knees, and come all the way back into a plank position. This can be tabletop, on hands and knees. This can be a kneeling plank, but I do want you to stay up on your hands. So once you find yourself in plank, if you're on your toes, again, watch this shift. We come forward onto those tippy toes. Strong through the shoulders, strong through those legs. From here, chaturanga, that slow controlled lower all the way down. And then let's bring our hand down by our side as we rest. I like to take one ear onto the floor, allow a little bit of twist through the neck. Good. Getting ready for our spine extension exercise. We're going to be coming through a sphinx. Slowly bring your nose towards the floor, taking our hands underneath. And then, underneath your shoulders. But then I want us to press the hips into the ground, pull the belly up, lift through the shoulders. And notice if we'd like to slide those hands out a little bit farther, so elbows are more underneath the shoulders. And then as we're here, notice if you can press those palms flat into the floor, engage the abdominal muscles. Again, try to see if you can press your pubic bone down, squeeze the glutes, lift through the chest a little bit more, engaging through back of arms, through those triceps. We're holding this. This is an isometric exercise that we're holding the contraction. Press the bottom of the feet, press the top of the feet into your mat. Every muscle's working together here. We take one more inhale, and then exhale. Slowly slide your hands back in under the shoulders and lay on your opposite ear. Even out that little rotation through the neck. Now, turning the nose towards the floor once more. One final spine extension. Let's take the legs either adducted completely, pressing together, or a little bit more comfortable for me personally with my hips. I leave my legs spaced apart slightly and a little bit turned in, just a little bit to give my back a little bit more space. So again, please listen to your body. Taking our hands underneath the shoulders for this next spine extension or back behind us, in which case palms face in towards the thighs. We're holding a Superman. In yoga, we call this locust. Draw the belly in, press the pubic bone down, draw the shoulder blades together, lift the chest, the arms, and then if you're able to, the legs. So we've got just the bottom rib on the floor, and then we're trying to lift the thighs up as much as they're able to. If any part of this doesn't feel good, listen to the body and adjust. Maybe we need to keep the legs on the floor today. Maybe we need to leave the hands under the shoulders. Continue to listen and grow and progress. Whatever that looks like today, we hold for one more big inhale. Exhale, release the body. Hands come underneath rib cage, press up for cobra. Nice long extension, relax shoulders, long neck. And press back into child's pose. For me, because that was a lot of work on my back, I like to have a wide knee pose now. Give my belly and my back a bit more space to really explore this new extension. Couple big breaths here. Preparing for our final big stretch sequence. We'll work our way into down dog if we'd prefer, otherwise staying in child's pose. Any little bit of stretching we may need to do. And then let's get ready, as I mentioned, that last big stretch series. We're coming into a three-legged dog and pigeon pose. We'll start by ensuring that we're happy with our hands. Make sure that that left leg is centered. So lift the right foot up and that left leg is on the floor and it's happy to take all the weight, distributing it between both hands and our left foot, pressing that left heel down to the ground as much as we can. We'll lift the right foot up to the ceiling. I like to keep mine bent, get a little bit more out of it, find my balance, square those shoulders up. And then if anyone's more inclined to get a bit more inner thigh or groin stretch out of this, let's twist that right knee up towards the ceiling, getting a little bit more engagement through that left thigh. Now slowly, we'll square the hips off again. Draw that right knee into the chest as we come through plank. The foot stops beside the left hand. The knee comes towards the right hand. We press that left leg down and back, straightening it up, resting on the top of that foot, adjusting anything we need to, and then we can come down onto our elbows or even rest all the way down onto our hands if we prefer. And at this point, we rest, we hold it. If there's anyone out there that didn't grasp pigeon or it wasn't working for your body today, please know that you can choose to come out of that and come into figure four instead, where you can cross one foot over the thigh, maybe press it away, or even lift the leg up. So if you're in pigeon and you'd rather lay on your back, please know that this is an option for you instead. Holding pigeon pose or figure four for one more big inhale. And exhale, slowly come out of that. If you're laying on your back, please feel free to stay there. That way you're not flip-flopping around. Otherwise, coming back into down dog or child's pose. Preparing To stand with the weight distributed between both hands and right foot now. Let's press that right heel down towards or into the floor. Press back through the hips, lift that left foot up. You can take the leg up. Now, I did recommend bending it. You can absolutely straighten it if you prefer. If it's bent, however, we now have the option to rotate those hips. Give a little bit more stretch up that right inner thigh. And when you're ready, let's draw that knee in towards the belly, coming forward through plank. Take the foot beside the hand, the knee beside that left hand. Press that right leg all the way back. So we're resting fairly equally between both hips, lifting through the belly, and then we can rest down. If we're laying on our back, we're crossing the left ankle over the right thigh now. We'll take our final inhale and exhale, slowly, slowly, working through that. If you're on your back, please feel free to stay there. If you're coming through down dog or child, holding this for a moment. And then all together, we'll come through a kneeling position, sweeping those legs around so that we can all come onto our back. And once we find ourselves down here, let's bring our knees into our chest. Give ourselves a wonderful hug here, rocking right to left, just like we did together as we opened our practice. Exploring if we have more mobility through the hips, more extension through the lower back. If we still are holding any tension through our hips, pay attention to that and make sure that we're aware of it throughout the remainder of our day. Holding this still, let's bring both legs up 90 degrees with our arms coming out to our side, finding a spinal twist. Lower both knees over to the right. You can hold on to that top leg. Feel free to straighten anything out as we look over that left shoulder or up to the ceiling. Finding this rotation, this expansiveness across our chest. Inhale, lift both knees up. And exhale, lower to the left. Shoulders remain on the ground. Feel free to extend or straighten out that top leg. We can look over that right arm if we're so inclined to do so. Lifting those legs up. And then finish our happy baby or dead bug pose. Feet come up to the sky. Hands underneath our thighs, outside of feet, or my personal favorite, index and middle finger wrap around our big toes. Keeping our feet pressed up to the ceiling as we expand through the hips, opening up the knees, allowing the legs to fall wide. We want to keep the knees coming in towards the body, the tailbone coming down towards the floor, the footprints flat or parallel to the ceiling. Trying to relax the neck, the face, the shoulders. Very restorative posture. We'll draw those legs in and then gently release the legs down. At this point, I'll invite everyone to come down into a comfortable position that we're able to relax in. Again, most of us will choose Shavasana. However, if you would prefer a butterfly or knees together, toes apart, restorative for the back, if you've got any props like pillows, blankets that you like to wrap yourself in or stuff under areas that are sometimes troublesome, please feel free to do that. making this time at the end of our practice exactly what we need today in this moment. And with that being said, I'll invite everyone to close their eyes, release your tension, your muscles, draw your focus to your breathing, and enjoy your final relaxation. Checking in with how we're feeling. Perhaps our breathing has come slower or deeper. If our mind is wandering, remember to accept it, acknowledge, and draw your focus back. Maybe we need to count our inhale. The common count is 5, pausing at the top, and then counting out for 5, pausing at the bottom. Taking that last big breath, and on the exhale, release everything from the body. Wiggling our fingers, wiggling our toes, rolling the wrists, the ankles, maybe rocking that head right to left. Perhaps we draw those legs in for one last big stretch. And then when you're ready, we can roll all the way over and up into our final seated position. Some people will choose to sit in cross-legged. If you had a yoga block and you preferred, please use that as a prop. You can sit on it. It gives you space underneath the bum. It's helpful for the back. Or you can take any version of lotus. Now, as we sit so tall, I want to thank everyone for your time. Thank you for practicing yoga with me today. And I hope that you sincerely feel a little bit longer, a little bit spacious, a little bit more, whatever that was for you, whatever you were looking for. I hope that you were able to achieve something from this that is going to positively affect your day. So thank you. Let's take our final breath together. Big inhale, hands all the way up above head to prayer. And exhale down through heart center. Namaste. Thanks, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great week.